Hey everyone, welcome back to Sport Lab, where we break down the biggest football stories from around Europe. Today, we're at Selhurst Park where Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace shared the points in a 1-1 draw, a result that could have major implications in the race for Champions League football. Let's get into it.
Okay, so that is the weekend complete, and there aren't many of them now. Only 3 more games left for each team to play in this Premier League season. Wins for City, Villa, Leicester, Bournemouth, Brentford, Chelsea, but no winner tonight. 1-1 between Palace and Forest at Selhurst Park. So, a reminder, Chelsea and Newcastle still locked on 63 points, still ahead of Forest, but by 2 now. And remember that Chelsea in 5th go to Newcastle in 4th this weekend. Villa 3 points off the top 5 now themselves. Palace stay 12th, nudge their way up to 46 points. Fulham on 51, still potentially in that race for 8th, which could be enough for European football. Well, that's all the reaction from Selhurst Park to come in the end. 2 goals inside 4.5 minutes, eventually given as a penalty for Palace, dispatched by Eze. But the important thing for Forest was they hit back, and that quick thinking from Murillo has got them a point on the road. Wasn't even moved with a clinical finish here.
Well, Michael's better placed than me to talk about finishing, but, you know, it's a technical thing, you know, and they have to commit to how they want to take the penalty, and I think Eze's done that brilliantly. In the end, he just won the ball in the net, didn't he? And that's where it's ended up. But he's backed himself, and he's that type of player, you know, he plays with a lot of self-belief, and that's where it's ended up. But he's backed himself, and he's that type of player, you know, he plays with a lot of self-belief, and he's shown it in abundance over the penalty.
He doesn't actually like bringing up his penalty-taking career, Steve, so that's why I went to you on that one.
I said finishing.
Yeah.
Not that bad.
We weren't that great either, but anyway, we'll move on.
More than you.
The Forest reaction was crucial, wasn't it, 4.5 minutes later?
It was, and to get back into the game so quickly is important.
Clever from Murillo here?
Yes, I'm not saying he was guiding it into that corner, but he's definitely sticks out his leg to change the direction. You see Murillo, actually, he starts off trying to block somebody. I think it's Gehi that he tries to block for his teammate there, and he eventually ends up in the same position. He had no intention of heading the ball from the corner, but he's now in a position whereby he can get that little flick. And as I say, I don't think he's aiming for a certain corner, but he definitely throws out his leg to give it a little change of direction. And lovely sight to see it going in the corner.
I think Forest have been brilliant this year to their set-piece plan. And if you actually look, you know, there's 4 or 5 players going towards the near post, which is something it looks like they work on. They target areas and they flood it with numbers. They've not scored from the first contact, but it has taken a lot of Palace defenders away and in the end opened up the goal. And Nico's in the right position. It can be a dangerous position off a first contact to pick up the ball. And for me, knowing Murillo as I do, like he definitely would have tried that, you know. I think it's a great finish.
Has he got that in him? That
100%. Yeah, he's an instinctive player, which you don't normally say about centre backs, but he definitely has brilliant flair. And for me, you know, it's a great example. It's good that he's on his left foot.
Oh, 100%. He tries to flick that. He definitely changes the direction, tries to change the direction of it. I mean, he's never facing the goal. He's always facing the play, you know, where the shot's coming from. So, you know, but you just have that awareness of where the goal is behind you and, you know, where the goalkeeper would be, and you just try to get enough on it to change the direction. Not enough on it for it to make a huge deflection and go wide. So, yeah, he would have certainly meant it, but a relief when you flick it and then you turn around and you see it go nestling into the corner.
It's not just hit him, is it? You know, which
no, absolutely. He's tried to.
It's not a deflection, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So it looked like, well, it did finish 1-1, but right at the end, Eze again here, Forest had their hearts in their mouths, because you like his ball carrying in this situation.
Yeah, he's a super talent, isn't he? And like we talked about the system that Palace play, and he is so key. But, you know, this sort of action from him, coming inside and finishing with his right foot, has contributed to so many goals and assists over the last couple of years. Since Glasnow's been in, really, and it's something that you really need to work on, and ideally you force him outside from them situations, but he's so talented on getting the ball back on the inside, and then it does become a real dangerous position to defend.
Yeah, he's definitely got it in the locker, hasn't he? As you say, I guess when you're playing against players like that, would the training ground do a lot of work on, or would it just be more vocal, telling people, right, when he gets the ball, this is a danger area?
The stats would back up that as well. You know, it would definitely be something you would talk about in a game plan meeting, that when you're defending in and around the box, when he's on the ball, you know, he will get the ball, but it's a little bit of damage limitation. And if anything, you want the ball to go away from goal in that sort of area anyway. But definitely him. But he, like I said, he's so good at getting it back on the inside. But there needs to be a big focus on making sure that you show him outside, even though it's in the centre of the pitch, and try and force it maybe into a crossing area or onto his left foot.
Yeah. Murillo, we talked about with the finish. He did go off. We saw him at the end there. I mean, there would have to be a doubt whether we'll see him again in the last 3 games this season.
Well, we hope so, because he's such an influential player, and his pairing, Forest pair back has been, you know, a super strength of theirs this year. Yeah, fingers crossed for him. You never know; it might be tight, and you know, it might not be a tear. But he's not one to come off easily, I have to say. You know, for all of his technique and all of his ability, he's a really good defender and he's a warrior as well. So fingers crossed for him.
He's durable. He's only missed 1 game all season.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what you need for a central defender as well. And he's got a bit of everything, nice strength and pace, and he can score a goal, as we've seen tonight. What a signing he's been. And they've based their team, I think, this season around a good, solid defence. You know, the 2 centre-halves, the goalkeeper, in fact, you can go through the whole team. They've all been outstanding. They've all overperformed, but some real special performances, and he's right up at the top of the list.
So they've been in and around it. They've been in the top 3 and in the top 4. 3 games to go. They're not in the top 5. They're 2 points away. But, as Michael rightly pointed out, if Newcastle and Forest win this weekend, they will end next weekend in the top 5, because obviously Chelsea will be beaten by Newcastle.
Some real special performances, and he's right up at the top of the list.
So they've been in and around it. They've been in the top 3 and in the top 4. 3 games to go. They're not in the top. And we'll look at Arsenal
to get the job done. It's all to play for.
And they know it's still in their hands. If they win all 3 and take 9 points out of 9, they're guaranteed Champions League football.
Exactly, yeah. And, well, they won't need that, but, yeah, you're right, Stephen. They've got to look at it like that. And they've got the pick of the fixtures there. Of course, Manchester City have got a great set of fixtures, but they're qualified anyway. They're going to be fine, I'm sure. But I think out the others, I think Forest have got the best run of fixtures there. So, and especially that last. But I think out the others, I think Forest have got the best run of fixtures there. So, and especially that last one. What a lovely position to be at home against Chelsea, last game of the season. Probably knowing that if you win, you're into the Champions League. I think that's what it's going to boil down to eventually.
OK, so let's get some immediate reaction then from the Nottingham Forest dressing room. Here is their midfielder, Elliot Anderson.
Elliot, the other night, I think there was a lot of disappointment around the City ground, obviously, after that defeat to Brentford. Not just about the result, but perhaps the performance. Was there a markable step up there tonight in terms of performance?
Yeah, definitely. It was a disappointing result the other day. We knew we had to come here and lift the performance. It's a tough place to come, and every point's massive at the minute, so I think we really wanted the win today, but I think we're happy with the point.
Crystal Palace are a side that like to play very much on the front foot, particularly with the likes of Eze and co. How much work had you done on restricting them to playing very short passes at times, not being able to play that free-flowing football?
Yeah, definitely. They're a big threat in there, and we just worked on it during the week to stay tight. And yeah, they've got players who can change games, so we're just trying to null them out of the game and then see what we can do.
Were there moments tonight that you could have gone in front?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've had chances. We had probably 2 or 3 chances, but it wasn't to be. And I think they had a lot of chances as well. So I think a point's probably a fair result.
Yeah, and like you said, at any normal stage, that is a great result on the road at Palace. But it's just the context of where they're at the moment.
Yeah, he spoke well then. You know, for a young player, spoke with a lot of sense, and he was in the game, so he would have felt how hard it would have been. And yeah, like I said, there's a lot of positives. You know, they've come into the game a couple of tough results, and I remember thinking it was 30 minutes in, and they had really settled into the game for us. And I think that would have meant a lot, because it meant that the concentration would have been right, and anything that had gone on in previous weeks would have been forgotten about. And Yeah, it was a fair result, but both teams also had chances to win it as well. And like I said, I think when the dust settles on it, I think Forest will be really positive about the position that they're in. And as we just discussed, what's there to be played for?
Absolutely. Right, let's hear from the Forest manager. Here he is, Nuno.
Nuno, overall, do you think a draw was a fair result tonight?
Let's not talk about... let's think about the game. I think it was 2 halves. First half, I think we were really good in the game. Second half, we started good, but then Palace reacted. Good for us that we achieved the goal so soon after the score of Palace. That gave us belief to go and fight for the game. So positive, I think. After last week, a good attitude.
I was about to say, you said after Brentford that you needed a response, you needed to find solutions. That was an improved performance, wasn't it? Yeah,
definitely. I think we improved in lots of aspects of our game. It's all about finding ourselves again, so we go in these last 3 games.
What were the main things that you did better today than you did against Brentford then, in your eyes?
We defend better. Defend better was so obvious. Let's not hide ourselves. Was clearly not a good performance, but today much better against the talented players that Palace has.
And also, it's a test of nerve and character, given that we're getting to the run-in now. So to respond like that to falling behind showed a lot, didn't it?
Yeah, look, this final game is going to be like this. Nervous games, tight games. Everybody is fighting for something. And it's up to us to react and read the moments of the game that requires better decisions and playing with all this noise around us so the boys can be settled down in the game and play.
Yeah, how crucial is that? Because a lot of these players haven't been in this situation. He has said the noise around. It's all positive noise, understandably, because it's a potential fairy tale, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's about controlling the controllables, and the motivation is what's at stake. But what's important is that you just really focus on what and then maybe the unit that you play in, and then overall the team. And so Nuno's right. He's trying to block out the noise, really hone in on the job in hand. And if you do that, then you will reach objectives. And it is that time of season where whether you're at the top or bottom of the league, or you're playing for something where what at stake can be in your head even more than what it normally would be in a game of football. Concentration and focus.
Could that even drag them over the line, those home supporters?
Oh, 100%. I mean, what a lovely position to be in. As I say, I'm preempting certain scores here, but I would think that the last game of the season is going to be pivotal against Chelsea for probably both teams. And that's all you can wish for, really, that it's in your hands. In the meantime, they've got to play, Leicester at home, while the other teams above them are playing against you. There's definitely points going to be dropped above them. It's at home, while the other teams above them are playing against you. There's definitely points going to be dropped above them. It's a lovely position to be, and that's why I don't think a point was such a bad result today. And almost, as we see their fixtures there, it's almost quite nice for them to almost be stalking now, just for the, just ready to pounce again. Because when you're getting chased, you're always looking over your shoulder thinking, oh, who have they got now? And what result are we going to get? But now I just think that with their fixtures, I think they're just sat in there behind any little mistake, or definitely there's going to be points dropped anyway, and then the big one right at the end of the season, at home, in front of your fans, round off the most brilliant season. I mean, it's all there. It's yes, it's nerve-wracking. Yes, there's lots at stake. Fallback position is what? It's going to probably be Europa League. Fantastic season anyway. But what a chance to grasp the big league, and go and try to qualify for the Champions League.
Yeah, you've been involved in one. It could almost be like a £100 million playoff final with home advantage, the way it goes.
Well, the City ground has been a fortress for the last couple of years now, and it has made a massive difference in really big games where, the year we got promoted, and if I'm being honest, even more so the year after when we were trying to stay in the league. You look at the home form that year, and it was a massive impact in the results that we got.
Steve, brilliant to have you with us tonight. Thank you very much indeed. Watching his former club get what could be a priceless point. We'll see. We'll see you soon.
The first half was tense, with both sides probing for an opening. Daniel Munoz had a golden opportunity to put Palace ahead, while Anthony Elanga nearly broke the deadlock at the other end with a blistering run. But despite the energy, The goals didn't come, and it was goalless at the break. Then came the flashpoint. Just after the hour, Palace broke forward and Tyrick Mitchell hit the deck under a challenge from Forest keeper Matt Sells. Initially waved away, but after a VAR review, the ref pointed to the spot. Eberechi Ez stepped up, cool as you like, and buried it. 1-0 Palace, and Forest suddenly had it all to do. But credit to Forest, they didn't collapse. Just 4 minutes later, up stepped Murillo with a touch of class. In a crowded box, he pulled off a cheeky flick from a corner that wrong-footed the Palace defense and slipped into the net. All square. Game on. Palace thought they'd snatched it when Ez unleashed a rocket that cannoned off the bar, and Eddie Nketiah bundled in what looked like a winner, but the flag went up. Offside. After nearly 10 minutes of stoppage time, the final whistle blew with both sides taking a point apiece. For Forest, this draw keeps them 6th in the table, now 2 points behind 5th and very much still in the Champions League race. But with only 3 matches left, they'll need to finish strong. Palace stay 12th, but with the FA Cup final coming up, their season still has plenty of fire left in it. Murillo's moment of brilliance salvaged a potentially crucial point for Forest, but did they miss a golden opportunity with other top 4 rivals all winning this weekend? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Can Forest still sneak into the Champions League spots? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update from the Premier League and beyond. This is Sport Lab, football analyzed.